Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another video, and today we're doing a little something different on the channel. We're going to try out a new role-playing game here that I found that actually seems kind of interesting, and obviously I didn't want to make like a new background for it, so I'm just using my default background, and the reason why is I'm going to kind of pseudo make this a default video because Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia has announced end of service. We all know this. The game's will be ending in about a month, and I know there's a lot of players that are going to be looking to fill that empty void, right? And I've tried out several gacha games, and for me on my channel, I think Star Rail is that void. But I played this game over the weekend. It actually just came out, I want to say like 5 days ago or something. It's a very fresh game. But tried it out over the weekend. I was getting some really nice vibes from it. I think there are some things I do really like about it. So I kind of wanted to do like an impressions video, talk about the game a little bit, maybe show it off to some default players that are looking for something new to try out. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to like extensively cover this game on my channel or anything like that. If I end up really liking it, maybe, but right now I feel like I don't want to go deeper than 2 games on my channel. I feel like that could be too much. But we'll see if the game really grabs me. It may happen, right? You never know. So what this game is it's called Atelier Resleriana. I probably butchered that. It's a very complex name. But this game is a part of a long-running series called the Atelier series. And this series, it's a series of role-playing games dating back to, I want to say, the PS1. Maybe it even dates back to like Super Famicom. But in terms of US releases, I think the PS2 wasn't really until we started getting Atelier games. Maybe there was a PS1 release. But what these games are is these are role-playing games that heavily involve alchemy. Alchemy is a very important part of these games. So crafting, making recipes, things like that are a really big part of the Atelier series. So we're going to definitely be seeing that in this game. So what those games are is you do a lot of like gathering of materials and things like that when you play the actual Atelier games. But then there's also like turn-based JRPG style of battles, right? So they are JRPGs, traditional turn-based battles typically. I've played a few Atelier games here and there. I've never played one to finish. But the games always have really good visuals, really interesting looking characters, and I definitely found that game to be the case here. So here we have what I believe to be the first Atelier gacha game, right? Now, maybe there have been some JP only ones, but as far as I'm aware, this is the only one that's ever been released globally, right? This game does have voice acting. It is all Japanese, but the game is full English game, right? It's produced here, you can see, by Team Ninja, Gust, and I think Akatsuki is a part of it as well. So yeah, there's some interesting people in play here. So without further ado, let's just hop in and watch this video and see, will this game replace Dffoo, or could this game maybe fill that void for some of the players, right? No, I'm not saying that it is or it isn't. I'm going to just show you guys the game, give my impressions, and you guys decide for yourself if it's a game you're interested in trying, right? So the first thing you're going to notice is the visuals are beautiful. I do not have the sound playing for you guys, but it does have very good music as well. It's very, very nice, right? So what I'm going to do is I am just going to hop into maybe the story chapter here. Oh, actually, I can't. I have to complete some more things. So the game is very. I will say this early on. It does really guide you as to what to do, and you do have to complete certain scenarios before you can move on. They want you to like accomplish certain things in the game before you can move on in the story. So actually what I can do is I can just go to score battle here, which is what they want me to do. And now I'm not going to get too deep into, this isn't like a beginner's guide on the game or anything like that. I'm not going to get too deep into all the modes and everything. I just want to show you guys the general gameplay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop into a fight, and this is actually going to be a pretty challenging fight for me. Your characters are kind of ranked on a power level, and your team is ranked on a power level. So for this particular fight that I'm going to do, they recommend a power level of 4100. So let's go ahead and hop in. And this is going to be my party here. Now, the one thing that's kind of cool about this game that I actually think I like a little bit more than Dffoo is your party size is 5. And, Dffoo had the 6-man fights, but it was kind of different because you still only had 3 characters on the screen at a time. So I think that could have been an evolution for Dffoo, where fights where you actually had 4 to 5 characters out at once. And could use those characters. So yes, this game is built to have parties of 5. This is one of those games where characters can be summoned anywhere from 1 to 3 star. And then characters can all be basically awakened to 5 star. So even if you have a low ranking common 1-star character, you could, in theory, raise them to 5 star if you like them enough. Now, I don't know enough about tier lists and stuff to know like how good those characters are in comparison. But once again, we're just kind of showing the game off here. So let's go ahead and hop into the battle with my team. Characters in this game have different elements attached to them, and they also have different like classifications. So some characters are meant to be attackers. Some characters are meant, I'm going to turn auto off here, by the way. So that one little attack there is going to go through. Characters are, some characters are classified as what we call breakers, which they are specialized in breaking the enemies, which that is something that is in common with Dffoo, is that we have breaking. So this is why I want to make this video. So just as you're looking at the game right now as it stands, notice we have the character turn order in the bottom left, and then we have enemy turn order as well. And this is like literally very similar to Dffoo. Now at the very, very bottom, that where you see the enemies and the players, you see that is turn order. Now the thing is this turn order is actually in the opposite order. So Dffoo was from left to right. In this game, it's from right to left. So when you're looking at that turn order bar in the bottom left, the far right character is the current turn character, and it's gonna the thing's gonna shift to the right. And what this does that's similar to Dffoo is enemies can be broken. And when you break an enemy, they will fall backwards, and they actually will fall back more than one space. Now, this doesn't have a Brave system. Once again, the moment a gacha game releases with a Brave system, you already know I'm going to be covering it. But I don't expect any game to have that, right? I'm hoping eventually they'll make another Dffoo game that does. But there's no break system, right? Or there's no, sorry, there is a break system. There's no Brave system. So we don't have that, right? So if you look at the enemies here, well, I'll show it in a second. Right now, it's just kind of waiting. But on the right, here's something else that jumped out to me. You have a skill 1, you have a skill 2, and you actually have a burst attack, right? So very similar to Dffoo in terms of that we have a burst. Now, it's not like a burst mode, and it's not like a burst attack that you can just... The burst in this game, it's very similar to like an ultimate in Star Rail, right? It's something you have to build up to, and then you can use it, but then you can use it more than once in a fight. So you just have to wait till it builds up and you can use it. But I thought it was just funny that's actually called a burst, right? And then you have a skill 2 and you have a skill 1. And that's, as of right now, as far as I'm aware, that's what the characters have. Now, as you rank them up, they may gain other skills in the future. I don't know, but once again, this is me playing the game for a weekend, right? So it'll tell you what the effects of the attacks do. What I understand, the skill 2 seems to be usually the button I'm pressing. It's usually the stronger attack. The skill 1 is usually weaker. It's kind of like a normal attack, but it sometimes will add like a buff to your character or something. So sometimes they're nice to do, right? So for example, this skill 1 is a fire magic attack. After attacking, it boosts my own skill damage, but it's a little bit weaker. But if you go here to the skill 2, and you'll see the enemies at the very top, I can click which enemies I want to attack, right? And the enemies have like an A, B, and a C. And you can see them down in the turn order at the bottom. So I could see which enemy I want to try to attack, which enemy I want to break. It tells you if you have type weakness. So once again, based on my element, you can see that this enemy on the right is weak to fire. So I could go ahead and hit them. Now what you're going to notice is 2 bars above the enemy. So that smaller yellow bar, that's their break gauge. And then that green bar is their HP. So if a character is classified as a break character, they typically do a lot of break damage, but less HP damage. Otherwise, normal characters are usually pretty split. So this is a normal, like, magic attacking character. So you can see we're kind of doing equal amounts break damage and HP damage. So let's go ahead and hit that button. The animations are very good in this game. And actually what I should do, right now I have the game sped up and I've got shortened animations on. Let me see if I can turn those animations. Yeah, so I'm going to do full animations. Just so you guys can see the animations, because the animations are actually quite good on this game. So we'll have that on so you guys can see it. So here's another character. So you can see their quick attack. They are also a fire magic user. She boosts her skill damage after using the attack. And then her big skill does like way more damage, right? So you can see how much damage I'm doing on these enemies here. So I'll actually hit this right enemy and knock them out. Okay, and that's like a normal skill there. Now, this character is a high rarity character that I've pulled. Actually, most of this team is high rarity characters. I actually got very lucky on my initial pulls. By the way, I guess we'll talk about the gacha. We'll go into that part a little bit later so you guys can see it. So this character is like, I would say, an AoE specialist, because even though this is single target, it does more damage if there's more enemies. And then this one is AoE and does more damage if there's more enemies. So we'll go ahead and hit that. This will be AoE damage. Okay, and you can see doing weak damage to the left enemy, regular damage to the normal enemy. And you can see my far right character, my healer, is actually close to dead. So, like, this is... what I've noticed is the game actually scales very well in terms of if I'm just doing like the content I'm at, like the fights are tough. Like you have to think even for normal battles, which I kind of like that actually. It's not just brainless. Okay, so this character is kind of interesting. So this here, what she can do, she's an ice magic dealer. And her normal attack actually puts a debuff on the enemies that makes them receive more damage. So even though it's very weak, it's going to make my other characters do more. Otherwise, I could do her bigger attack and do more damage, right? So let's do a normal attack. So this is like her normal attack. But now you can see damage received up on that enemy. So now, and she actually has another turn back to back. So let's go ahead and hit it. And then we'll do a little bit of extra damage to this enemy here with the bigger attack. So I think there will be some strategy to this game in terms of elements, having proper type advantage, right? During certain enemies. Right now, I'm early enough in the game where I'm just rolling with the best characters I have, no matter what their elements are, and just slowly trying to level them up, right? So we'll go ahead, we'll just keep attacking through and finish it. But right now, being it's a brand new game, the battle system's fairly simple, right? Each character has 2 attacks and a burst. That's pretty easy to keep up with. Now, this is my healer, so I can do that, and then down here, I can pick who I want to heal. It tells me what their health will be after healing, so we'll go ahead and heal. Once again, most role-playing games usually want to recommend you have a healer there, right? Okay, then we're gonna go ahead here and we will do the big attack. Well, that left enemy's almost dead, but this center enemy's got a lot of health, and we are actually almost gonna kill him here, or we might. Yeah, we did. I was gonna say, and then this little enemy would have died here on the AoE anyway. So we didn't get a burst attack there. The one thing I noticed is the burst attacks don't come often, but I think it builds up from fight to fight. So like, as I go into a later fight, I might get a couple of burst attacks, right? But I gotta score double S on that. We'll take it. But you can see beautiful graphics. Like, I have no complaints about the graphics. The graphics look great in this game. Nice, fresh, very good looking visuals. And that's the one thing I think with Dffoo, it was feeling a little dated in terms of the visuals. So it is nice to play something fresh with really updated 2024 visuals, right? Because this is a 2024 game, right? Now, in order to unlock the next story mode, I think I have to get all the way up to 1-4. So I'd have to do a few stages. So we don't want to go crazy and do that. We have this menu here. I can go back to the home, and we can do that. So just the battle system, the fact that enemies can be broken, you can break them back. We have a skill 1, we have a skill 2, we have a burst. Nice, just fluid turn-based combat. You have to think about the moves that you're doing. I mean, I was getting some nice vibes from that. I did really enjoy the battle system, right? So what are some other things I can show you? I guess I can show you what the characters look like. It does look like it takes a bit to max out characters. The vibe I'm getting from this game, it's going to be slow going at first, but once you build up your account and you could do like the advanced to like grinding stages, I think the leveling up will go much faster. I think to me, it feels very similar to like a Genshin or a Star Rail, where it's going to be slow. You are going to be locked to stamina quite a bit. And that was the one thing Dffoo did really well, was stamina was never really a burden. There was most of the game you didn't even need stamina to do stuff. And they gave you so many stamina potions for the other things. Like, you pretty much could play Dffoo freely. So this is something where, like, one of my big complaints about this game right now is I do feel very bottlenecked by stamina. And I wish I could play more than what I've been able to, right? But that's okay. But once again, very interesting game so far and all that. So let's look at a character. So here's a character. Right now, level 30 is the highest I have a character. So a few components. Here's what the character can equip. They can equip a weapon, which we have here. We have a weapon. We can equip an armor. And we can equip in, I guess I'd call it like an artifact or an accessory. Okay. Now, from what I can tell, these equipments don't level up. Like, you just put it, you equip it, and you're done. You don't have to grind it or anything like that. Now, being that alchemy is a big part of this game, you craft all of your own stuff. So as you go out and do these missions, you're getting materials and you're crafting. And I'll do maybe a crafting demo to show you what that is. Okay. The other thing you get, I think the important equip you get is called Memoria. And that's what this is right here. So I would say this seems very similar to like a light cone in Star Rail, right? That's probably what I would equate it to. You get a lot of stats from it. You get an effect from it. And you have to grind basically a separate stage to get materials to level these up. The game is very generous. You can see I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 SSR Memorias, which is the highest rarity. And I think only one of them was pulled from a banner. The others were all given to me for free. So that's kind of nice. I've gotten some high rarity Memorias, but those are something I think are going to be pretty important to level up and put on your characters, right? So we've got that. In terms of training your character and leveling them up, you have your base level. Your base level is only going to be at 10. And what it is you have separate thresholds you have to hit on a character board. So these characters have like a board that you have to complete and fill out. And then as you complete their character boards, you'll get more levels to be able to add on to the character. So if I go onto the character boards here, they look something like this. And they have different tiers. So this screen that I have, this is the level 4 board. And so I have all this character stuff done up to level 4. Now what'll happen is there's going to be another board, but right now I'm gated because I have to complete story. So they are definitely pacing you out in the game where they don't want you to just grind and max out your characters immediately before you move on to the story. They want you to move on in the story. And then the story is going to block you and say, well, now we want you to craft this thing and know that you've done this first. So I think they're doing it in a very tutorial-based setup where they really want you doing particular things in a certain order. But then the assumption is once you kind of get out of tutorial land, you'll be free to just grind up your characters, right? So right now I'm feeling a little bit limited, but it's very early in my experience. I would say, I would have to guess maybe I put like 4 to 6 hours into this game, something like that. I put a decent chunk into it, right? So what'll happen is a part of the grow board here, I guess they call it. This top one here that's red, that's a level thing. So every time you upgrade one of those, you get more levels that you can level up your character. And then the other ones are basically stats, right? Now they also have something called an EX board, which I haven't been able to access yet. I think you need a special material to open that up. My assumption is the EX boards are going to add a lot of power to a character as well. So typical gacha thing. It's not just level up your character and you're done. There are several pieces involved to it. It does seem a little bit in-depth, so if that's a turnoff for you, that's totally fine. But seems similar to the amount of, stuff you kind of need for like Star Rail. Kind of seems in that realm, right? So that's kind of the gist of what the characters have and what they do there. Let's go back to the home screen here. Let's show you the alchemy, because we've talked about that. That's going to be a big part of the game, right? So if we go into here, I think this would be the Atelier we would go to. Okay, so this is where we can craft, so we can go into here to synthesize things. And basically, as you play the game, you will unlock recipes. And these recipes will be different things. So we have battle items, we have weapons, we have armor, and we have accessories. Okay, so accessories are something I'm a little lacking. It looks like I have one that I have the materials for, which are these glasses. So let me show you guys how the crafting works. I'm going to go ahead and hit confirm here. Now, the way this game works is interesting. Characters you own actually have to perform the crafting. And I think this is actually a very interesting strategy by them, because certain characters will add different attributes to your equipment. So it would give players an incentive maybe to pull for a character. Even if it's not like the best character you'd want in your party, you may want to pull them to have on your crafting roster to give certain stats to your items, right? Which I think would be a really big deal. So I think that's actually a pretty good strat on their part. So what it's showing me here is to craft the glasses. The first character I have to use, you see my characters at the bottom, they have certain colors and they're pointing to different directions. So like my far left character is blue, left, right, purple. What the gift color is telling me is that the character can either be blue left, yellow right, or it could be green in either direction, right? So this character, for example, is blue left. And you can see that next button on the right that's yellow. That's telling me, yep, you're good. If I pick a character that doesn't qualify, you see that it turns red like that. So it means you don't really want to use that character, right? So let's try this. And then at the top, it's kind of hard to see, but in the top middle, there's a you see a picture of the character's head. And very small, it's telling me magic stun damage up. And when this game refers to stun damage, that's breaking. So when you break an enemy, that's stunning them. So it means this basically break damage up is what that does. So sure, we'll put break damage up on it. Now, because my character is pointing right, I'm going to click next. The next color has to be yellow because you're kind of connecting. So this character had right yellow. Now I need a character that has left yellow. You can see I have a lot of options here. This character does magic damage up. This character does skill power up. This character does bolt damage up. So if I have like a lightning based character, I could do that. This character's physical damage up. So I could think of what character I'm crafting this for, and then I can try to put substats on it that I want. And it's still RNG based. These are just all the things you could get, and then you can get different like rankings of them. So this is very similar to like say relics and Star Rail, right? Where it's a little RNG based. But let's say I'm going to put this on a magic damage dealer. So I'm going to have magic stun boost from the first character. Now I've got magic damage boost. So we're trying to like increase the magic damage on these classes. So I'm going to click next. And now we're actually going to craft. The last thing is we actually get to put a material in. And the material color will be the color of that the character is pointing to. So since my last character is pointing green, now I can look at all my green colored items to put into it. It's kind of crazy, you guys, but there's a lot of strategy that goes into just crafting, because it's like, okay, you know, I know that this item gives this stat and it's red, so I got to make sure I end on red, but then I got to pick a character that's red pointing right, that's left the other color I need, that's also giving me a stat I want. So this game's crafting system, I think, could actually get quite complex if you really want to get into it and like optimize it. But I also think for me, like, I haven't taken it too seriously. I just kind of click. I'm like, these are my options, right? So I'm just going to look at them and I'm going to see what will it give me. So this left item gives me stun damage up and it gives me bolt resistance. This one gives me magic stun damage up and slash resistance. This one gives me skill power up and magic resistance, right? So while I already had magic stun damage on one of them, so I guess I could double down on that. So let's do this one because it gives me magic stun damage. So let's go ahead and do that. Then we're going to craft the item. Now, when you craft, from my understanding, you're guaranteed to get at least one, but you could get up to 3. So we'll skip here and see what we actually craft. So we got just 1, and that's typically what I get is just 1. And then here's what I got, and then you can see the substats. So I got magic stun damage boost level 2, and I got magic damage boost level 1. So sure, I'll take it. So this is now an accessory I can equip to a character. And then those other 2 materials, those are the materials you use for those character boards that I just showed you. And you can also farm those. They have stages where you can farm those, right? So cool. So there I just crafted a pair of glasses. Now I have that, okay? The one thing I should talk about quick is items are actually very interesting in this game. When you craft an item, it actually acts more like an equipment. So when you go into battle, there's a certain amount of items you can bring in. And the way that they do it is your items never run out. You don't have like in my inventory out here, notice that, you know, it doesn't tell you how many you have. Like once you craft it, you have it, but then each item, just like the equipment I did, they get substats and stuff the exact same way. So based on the item you're using, you can give it different substats that you want. And then when you go into battle, so let's say I bring this into battle, this bomb, right? What happens is if this is in my inventory, I basically have 2 skill uses of it. So any item you bring in, it actually acts more like a skill use that any character can use, and you can use it twice. What happens though is your items, because this is so powerful, because they emphasize items as being a really important part of the game, items have a cooldown. So you guys probably didn't notice. Let me demo it since I'm actually talking about it. Let's go into another fight so I can show you this. It's going to make more sense if I show you. So let's go in and take a look here. So we'll go back in here and we'll keep working towards this requirement to get back into story mode. So we'll go back into the same mode I was just in. Okay, so we'll go here, we'll hop into the next fight. So what you're gonna notice, we'll go in now looking at just items. So in the bottom left here, you can see I've got 3 items that I'm bringing with me. Now I don't wanna bring 2 copies of this one item, but notice like this item has Strike Blessing and Ice Blessing. This is the exact same one, but it doesn't have any substats on it. So I'll probably swap that one out, right? So let's swap that one out and let's bring, what is this? This is a nice one. This is called a Dry Biscuit. Restores HP to all allies. I definitely want to bring healing items, right? So the nice thing about how this works is you could maybe get away without a healer because you have healing items. But once again, items have a cooldown, like you can't just spam them. So let's show you that. So I have these 3 items coming with me. Let's go into battle. So what you're going to notice is in the bottom left, I'm going to have an item gauge here. Okay. So ours kind of mid left, but you see that item bar, and it's kind of, I guess, if we're talking Dffoo, right, we'd almost think of this as like an EX gauge. It looks like an EX gauge that's filling up. So as we take actions, that item gauge will fill up. So let's go ahead and just do some actions until that item gauge fills up. And I could envision, if the game doesn't already have it, I could envision there being characters that boost the item gauge that maybe specialize in using items. So you kind of have to think of, once again, think of items in a different vein in this game. Think of them more like skill uses than items. They are way more important, I think, than items in other games. And that's good because, yeah, look, that character, I think, just got one shot. So we did have a character die. So this definitely is more of a challenging fight for us, but I think we'll still be fine. I don't mind if a character dies. I think we're going to get through. I am going to go after the weaker enemies and try to just get them out of here. And I can't wait till the day I can craft a revive item. I have not yet, but that definitely would have some use. So I'm hoping we can get to our item gauge before this enemy's dead. I think we will. Okay, so the item gauge has filled up, right? So if we click on the item gauge now, you can see all of these items have 2 skill uses, right? And these items, if I use these dry biscuits, for example, they will not leave my inventory. I'll still have them. If I go into a new fight with the same setup, everything refreshes the 2 out of 2. So let me use the dry biscuit. We're going to do an AoE heal. So we'll hit action. So AoE heal, nice. And it does not take up the character's turn. So you can see why items have to have a cooldown. Because if I could just spam all 6 items and I would just get them refreshed every fight, that would be kind of busted, right? So now that item bar has to, like, refresh, you know, the cooldown has to finish before I can use another item. So now we're going to go ahead and just keep attacking. And I would like to get a burst off, right? That would be nice. Let me do some normal attacks and see if I can get my way to a burst attack. So I would like you guys to be able to see one. If we don't get a burst attack here, I'm just going to do normals until we get a burst attack up. We'll just do a kind of weaker damage. We'll let the enemy's going to use a burst on us. Okay. Somebody will probably die from this. Okay, my party almost entirely died. So never mind. We are just going to kill this enemy. We're going to not stall anymore. There, dead. Perfect. We won't get a good rank on that. We won't get a good score there for sure. Yeah, B rank, that figures. But we could do another fight. But all the burst is, it's just like an ultimate attack. They do play really nice animations on them. So we'll see if at some point I do a burst in this video. We'll do it. But I kind of want to talk about other stuff here because this video is going to be getting kind of long, right? We're already at that, like the half-hour mark. I don't want this to be too long, and I just want to give you guys a base overview of the game. So let me go back to the home screen. Let's talk about the gacha because that's definitely something you guys are going to want to know about. So let's go into the wish tab here. And it looks like I have a free daily single to use up. So this game does have one of my red flags that I do not like in gachas. They do have paid-only banners, which that's what this is here. Obviously, they're going to give you a guaranteed 3-star. This is like a Legends Festival banner. It's the first banner. So if you like the game, though, and you want to buy gems, then you get perks for buying gems because the paid banners are really nice. So there's that. If we go here, this is another paid-only, but it's half price. And then the far left here will be like the normal one. Now, this is still the same Legends Fest banner. And you can see I do have a free wish. So sure, let's do a free wish and we'll see the animations. So once again, you're either getting 1-star, 2-star, or 3-star. The 3-star pull rate is 4%. 4% is not the worst. I've definitely seen worse. So 4% isn't that bad. So these 2 main characters here, we're going to swipe and they're going to dash. They're going to do this little adventure monologue. Now, luckily, this game has a skip button because this is a pretty long summon animation. I still have not figured out, to be honest, what dictates what. Because there is a shooting star at the beginning, and then here there's another shooting star. I have never seen it look different, and I've gotten some with all 1-stars and some with 3-stars. So I have no idea what the tell is. Like, to me, I've seen that exact same star, and I've gotten all low rarity, and I've also gotten high rarity with that. So this here's, yeah, just an R. So that's a Memoria, and that is the lowest rarity. So when you summon, you are getting characters and Memoria in the same summons. So it's essentially like in Star Rail, you get characters and light cones. This basically mimics that identically, right? So that was a summon. This game does have a pity system. What happens on the pity system is as you summon, you basically get a coin. So if I go to like this exchange shop here, I've got 22 coins. I do not remember how many I get per multi. I haven't done that many multis, so I got 22 coins. It looks like you need 150 coins to get a guaranteed character, but it looks like you can choose off-banner stuff too. So that's actually really nice that you can choose not only the featured units, but you can choose off-banner stuff. Like all these characters are 3-stars that you can choose from. So I think that's actually pretty nice. So let me just hop back and see if there's anything else I want to show you guys, but that's really the gist of the game. Has beautiful animations. Once again, the battle system reminds me a little bit of Dffoo, right? Just a little bit there. Let's go in. Let's just do one more fight. We'll go back to the score battle. Let's see if I can show you guys a burst. I'm hoping we can get a burst off in this next fight here. All right, let's see. Yeah, we're getting close. The recommended power level is 4,300, and we're 4,639. So yeah, this will be tight, but let's see if we can get it done. And once again, I'm hoping to show you a burst. Now, based on what happened in that last fight, I think I am going to play it very aggressive, and if I don't get the burst, that's fine. But either way, we will make this our last our last little bit here, and then we'll wrap up the video there. All right. So once again, if you're familiar, the one thing I will say is if you're familiar with the series and you've played these games before, like, you're going to really like this game because you're going to know the characters already. But for me, like, I am vaguely familiar with the series, right? And I've played a couple titles just a little bit, but I would not say, like, I'm a big mega fan of the series or anything like that. And I'm still enjoying the characters and I'm enjoying the gameplay. So, and, you know, Genshin and Star Rail have showed us they are unique IPs, right? That you can grow to like characters even if you don't care for them. Dffoo showed us that, right? Even though all those Dffoo characters existed, most players never played Type 0 and grew to love those characters, right? I grew to love a ton of Final Fantasy characters of games I've never played. So I don't think you have to have already been familiar with this game to enjoy it. I would say if, you know, after watching this video, if you, if it seems interesting to you, like, don't be afraid to give it a try. You know, play it for a couple days, and if you don't like it, just delete it. Right? Nothing harmed from giving the game a try. All right, let's see. We do not have burst yet. This enemy is like about to die. I mean, okay, we just killed him anyways. That's fine. So, yeah, anyways, guys, there you go. There is Atelier Resleriana. Once again, probably butchered that name. Let me know what you think of this game. Let me know if you think that this could maybe fill that Dffoo void for you, if you're someone that is missing Dffoo. And Dffoo is still active right now, by the way, right? End of service is not till February 29th. I am planning, if you guys are interested, I am going to do like an end of service stream. Right now I'm planning for Wednesday the 28th, so look forward to that. And let me know if you guys are going to give this game a try, and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.